You ever have that feeling, like you're just a passenger in your own life, kind of being swept along by stuff you can't control? Well, what if I told you that you're actually the one in the driver's seat, that you're making these secret decisions that are shaping your entire reality? Okay, let's get right into this powerful idea, the law of permission. So, let's just start with this one really fundamental question. Is your life just a series of random events, a lottery of good and bad luck? Or is it the direct result of the choices you're making? Maybe even choices you don't realize you're making. This is the core idea we're going to unpack together. Because let's be honest, for a lot of us, it really feels like life just happens to us. You get a flat tire, a project at work gets canceled, and suddenly you're just reacting, feeling totally powerless. But what if we could flip that script? What if we could shift from being reactive to actually being the creative force in our own story? And look, feeling that way is completely normal. The book we're exploring here brings up a fascinating point. The only way for your life to be pure chance is if you've unconsciously decided to give up your own will and just become an extension of someone else's life. Even then, your life is still serving a purpose. It's just not your purpose. Okay, and this is a huge shift in perspective. So many of us get caught in this loop of asking, why? Why is this happening to me? And all that question does is chain you to the past, right? You're just looking for someone to blame. But the real game changer is when you start asking, what is this for? See the difference? That question searches for purpose, for utility. It turns every single event, good or bad, into a lesson, into a chance to grow. And that's where you start to find real meaning. So, how do we make that powerful switch from why to what for? Well, it all starts with understanding the core concept we're talking about today, the law of permission. Permission isn't something you go out and ask for from other people. No, it's an internal green light, and it's often subconscious. It's the silent agreement you make with yourself that basically dictates what you think you deserve, what you believe you can pull off, and who you're even allowed to be. So the real question is, what permissions have you been giving yourself? And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's the engine behind everything. You can wish and hope and struggle all you want, but reality only responds to one thing: your decisions. The universe doesn't hear your wants. It hears the choices you actually make, the actions you actually take, not just the ones you think about. But here's the thing, making powerful decisions isn't just about pure willpower. To really get how this works on the inside, we've got to look at the two big forces driving us, our reason and our emotions. We're so often taught to see these two as enemies in a constant battle, the logical brain versus the passionate heart. And we think we have to choose one over the other. But the author argues that that's a massive mistake. Just think about that for a second. When you try to be all rational and shove your feelings down, or you let your emotions run wild without any logic, you're not solving anything. You're literally starting a civil war inside yourself. The key isn't to pick a side, it's to make them partners. I absolutely love this analogy from the book. Think about creating your life like you're cooking an amazing meal. Your intention, that's the recipe. It's the blueprint. Your emotion, that's the seasoning. It gives it all the flavor, the passion, the energy. And your rationality? Well, that's the chef, the one who skillfully brings it all together to create the final dish, which is your life. You need all three working together in perfect harmony. Okay, so if we've got the recipe, the seasoning, and the chef all lined up, what's holding us back? Well, a lot of the time, it's these destructive patterns in our relationships that just cancel our permission to move forward. And the biggest obstacle of all is emotional dependency. This is when your well-being and your actions get all tangled up with someone else's. Like you feel like you can't be happy unless your partner is happy. It feels like a deep connection, but really, it's a trap. It's a prison that strips you of the permission to just be you. This dependency usually shows up in three common roles, or archetypes, that control and sabotage our ability to grow. Let's break them down. First up, the victim. And the author makes a really important distinction here. Of course, there are people who genuinely suffer, but the intentional victim pattern is different. This is the person who maybe unconsciously brings up their problems at the exact moment you're about to succeed, or grow, or leave. Their crisis suddenly becomes your emergency brake. And what's really insightful here is that sometimes we're the victim in our own story, using our own problems as the perfect excuse not to take that scary next step. Next, we have the narcissist. And this isn't just about being vain.
This pattern is about someone who needs to feel superior by making you feel inferior. They'll chip away at your confidence, criticize your efforts. They basically take away your permission to even try, because your failure, and honestly, your success, is a threat to their ego.
So just take a second with this slide. Who in your life makes you afraid to try? And then flip it. Who are you enabling? Who do you feel is completely dependent on you, like they couldn't live without you? Just recognizing these dynamics is the first crucial step to changing them. And finally, there's the Avenger. This is the person who's stuck in the past, always trying to settle some old score. They operate from this place of needing justice for something that happened long ago. But in the process, they sacrifice their present and their future. They can't move forward because they're always looking backward. So what's really fascinating is when all these patterns decide to pop up. It's not random. The author calls it the pre-fall zone, and it's brilliant. Picture this. You're just kind of coasting along in your comfort zone, right? Maybe it's a job you don't love, but hey, it's safe. But then you decide to grow. You apply for that promotion. And boom! The second you step into that growth phase, all those old, unresolved emotional issues suddenly show up as real-life problems. Your partner picks a fight out of nowhere. Your car suddenly won't start. It's not a coincidence. This is the test, and you have two choices. Face it, solve it, and level up, or ignore it and slide right back down to where you started. So, how do we pass the test? How do we finally, actually take control? It all comes back to one simple, incredibly powerful truth. Your life is a product of your decisions. So, here's the key takeaway. To break free from these patterns, you have to get crystal clear on two things. First, your boundaries, like deciding you are not answering work emails after 7 p.m. And second, your intentions, knowing exactly where you are really trying to go. That clarity is both your shield and your compass. And this is the bottom line right here. Every choice you make has a cost, but choosing to stay stuck, choosing not to decide, that costs you everything. Indecision is still a decision. It's a decision to let your circumstances or other people choose for you. And trust me, the price for that is always higher. So as we wrap this up, I'm just going to leave you with this question. Forget about what anyone else thinks. Forget about the past. What is the one permission you need to grant yourself right now, today, to start building the reality you actually want? The power was always yours. It's time to use it.